everyone, and happy Friday. Welcome to this digital edition of NHL Now. I'm Jamie Hirsch, happy to be joined by my friends EJ Raddick and our NHL.com insider Nick Cotsonika, who is preparing rapidly to cover life from inside the bubble of the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. We're going to get to that in just a bit because we have a lot of questions about that, Nick. But first of all, the biggest news this week, we have officially a 32nd franchise in the National Hockey League, the Seattle Kraken. And the Twitter was a buzz yesterday with the news just unfolding throughout the day. I'm a huge fan of the name, the logo, the colors, the sweaters, everything. But what's your initial reaction? What is the reaction from around the hockey world?
Well, I loved the colors and the logo. Like, I tried to go online to order some of the new merchandise, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who loved it because the site was like crashed. I think people, react to it very positively. But the biggest takeaway for me is that they really listen to the fans. And if you look at Todd Leiweke, the CEO, and his history, he launched the Minnesota Wild as an expansion team. He revived the Tampa Bay Lightning as a franchise. He led the Seahawks. He led the Sounders and launched them as an expansion team. And when you look at the common themes of all the teams that he's led, it's been authenticity, sense of place, and fan service. Like, he wants it to have a sense of place. He wants the fans involved. And I can give you all kinds of examples of that, from the actual Lightning games to the state of hockey. That's all Todd Leiweke, and you're starting to see it here. I mean, they really listen to the fans, and the name is a product of that, and it fits Seattle very, very well.
Well, it seemed like the rollout couldn't have gone any better. I mean, it was delayed because of the times in which we live. But I would think, and you've talked to everybody out there, that they would be pretty thrilled with the way this has rolled out.
Well, it seems delayed because, I think we just went through the Vegas experience. But, they've unveiled it before Vegas did, if you look at the timeline. And they had the luxury of more time just because they had another year with the arena.
Yeah.
So why not take your time and get it right? And I think they got it right. And there's still plenty of time to buy a jersey and get excited about it before the puck drops.
Well, we're excited for the puck to drop in 8 days. The countdown is on. A week from tomorrow, and we will actually be seeing qualifying round hockey games that really, really matter. Best of 5 series. I personally can't wait. I'm already having trouble sleeping just thinking about all of the games that we're going to be treated to on a nightly basis. You must be even more excited because you're going to see these games in person. You are going to be there for NHL.com covering this in a way that no other reporter really has ever even imagined, just covering life to this extent right now. So what are your personal thoughts and feelings about going into the bubble and this whole endeavor?
Well, personally, I've had the good fortune to do a lot of cool, interesting things in my career. Like, I've covered Stanley Cup playoffs for 2 decades. I've covered 4 Olympics. I've covered World Cup of Hockey. I think this will be the most difficult assignment of my career and one of the most interesting because, as I wrote today on NHL.com, I mean, this is nothing short of historic. It's something we've never seen before and hopefully we'll never see again. I don't think anybody wants to do this again. But what they're doing here is creating a completely new way of competing, of living in a bubble, of watching a game on television. They're doing it on the fly in a matter of weeks. I talked to Steve Mayer, the chief content officer who's in charge of the entire production. And he said that, one of our events, like an outdoor game or something like that, would fit into 1/10 of this. Nothing the NHL has ever done, in his words, remotely approaches the scale of this. Like, they're creating a 2014 tournament, out of thin air and fencing off cities and creating pop-up restaurants. And so my job, along with Tom Galiti and Mike Zeisberger, is to take you where you can't go. To show fans what's going on behind the scenes as best we can, and to follow all the same protocols everyone else is.
Nick, what for the fans at home that they won't be in the bubble, they'll be on the outside watching these games on television. How are the games on television going to look different from the league perspective of what they're going to try to do? Because obviously, no fans, it's a different look. We've already seen in other sports there have been some unique ways to kind of change the visual. What do we think we're going to see with the NHL?
Well, that's going to be one of the most interesting things because the connection the fans have to the game is through television, right, and social media. So They're very cognizant of that. They've brainstormed ways to enhance the TV experience. You know, I wrote also, they're not just trying to make the best of a bad situation. Like, the attitude here is, let's turn a bad situation into something spectacular on TV, right? Now you can put cameras where you never could before. You can have a dozen more cameras than you normally do in a broadcast. You can stage the rink differently. You can do different things with audio with a 5-second delay. And with lighting and different ways to bring the game to life on television. And that's going to be vitally important. I don't think you're going to see cardboard cutouts like you've seen elsewhere, but you're going to see different things. And I think every game is going to look differently. They're going to import the music and the horn from the home rinks to make, Scotiabank Arena or Rogers Place like the home rinks. You're going to see just different tricks with TV. One of the cameras, you've seen it, I think, at racetracks where it runs along the side. You're going to see that, which you could never do in an NHL rink before, which really will bring the speed to life. And it's going to evolve. You know, all of this, again, it's on the fly, right? None of this has been done before like this. So they're going to be creative and they're going to experiment and turn a really tough, difficult, bad situation into something hopefully we'll be proud of and something everybody will remember for a long time.
Yeah, and of course the priority here is keeping everyone healthy and safe, and hopefully keeping this virus completely out of the bubble. We were able to see the NBA have some really positive results from their bubble, and so I know the NHL is trying to look at what's working there and apply it to their bubble situation as well. You mentioned some of the highlights of this bubble situation with restaurants being even created by the NHL for the hockey players, but out of all the plans that the NHL has laid out and typed out for everyone to read, can you just kind of give us some of the highlights of the best parts of the bubble or the biggest details that people should know?
Well, the details are endless, and that's the crazy part of this. Is I don't even know where to begin or end with it. It, like, down to the towels, right? Like, you think you've got 24 teams, right? And they've all got to use laundry, and it's all got to be disinfected. So they hired a towel service because they think in the qualifying round alone they're going to go through 12,000 towels. The players can't leave the bubble, right? The staff can't leave the bubble. So there's only so many restaurants. So in Edmonton, because the options were limited, they're creating 2 pop-up restaurants. They're partnering with a sushi chef to create a sushi spot in Rogers Place. They're going to have another one where they, have, rotating food. But that means ordering plates and silverware and building a restaurant from scratch. That means instituting safety protocols, training the wait staff, creating menus. Like, this is all going on as they're trying to stage the rink and worry about TV and worry about testing 900 people. Like, it's crazy. They've upped the internet for the players. They've created individual lounges for each team. They've ordered pool tables and ping pong tables, and they've ordered cornhole for outside in the outdoor areas. Like, they've thought of everything. It's crazy. And they didn't have a year to plan like you would for a Winter Classic, which has 2 teams in one venue. They've had weeks. And that, to me, is what makes this really an incredible feat that they're trying to pull off.
12,000 towels. It sounds like my house. But let me ask you just quick, who do you like? Who do you think is going to win this whole thing?
I think this will be the most chaotic, random Stanley Cup tournament ever. I think it will be the most difficult to predict. We always say, and I think it'll be the most pure, because you're taking away home ice advantage, you're taking away travel inequities, you're taking away all the things that sort of are inherent advantages or disadvantages, and everybody's healthy, right? Like, you always say, well, in a vacuum, this team's the best. Well, this is the closest thing we've ever had to a vacuum. So, there are lots of theories here, but I'm going to revert back to, in a vacuum, who are the best teams? So I think the best teams, that you would consider are the ones that I would put my money on. Which one? I'm not losing my money because I have no.
I was going to try to answer the question.
Yeah, that was a good way to avoid it, right?
The dodge. That's a dodge.
Yeah, it was a total dodge. But
you're going chalk all the way, though, I think is what you're saying. No upsets. Chalk, right? Just the favorites?
I think that's where the money goes. That's where the odds go. But, like, again, I think it's going to be totally unpredictable. Like, who comes back sharp? Which goalie is sharp, right? Like, I think goalies are at the biggest disadvantage not having had gameplay, right?
Yeah.
But I think the best teams, right? For me, Tampa, Boston, Colorado in the West, I like a lot. St. Louis, there will be no Stanley Cup hangover. They won the Cup last year. Now they've had time to rest and they're healthy. So don't overlook the Blues, right? So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how it turns out.
Well, Nick, we cannot wait to see your unprecedented coverage of this crazy Stanley Cup playoff tournament. So stay safe, stay healthy, try to have some fun and some good sushi in the bubble as well. And we'll talk to you soon.
I'll have to do a review, eh? So.
Yes. Thanks so much.